Welcome back to the Michael Loses podcast. It's Wednesday, so we have our live question and answers. First question that came in today is Precon dead? Great question. I mean, Precon. So for those that don't know, Precon is short for pre-construction or a pre-built condo or development in an area where someone can go in and purchase a property that will be ready in a few years' time. So sometimes it'll be ready in a couple years, or sometimes it'll be ready right away. It just kind of depends on where they're at in the pre-con line. As far as pre-con being quote unquote dead, I don't think it's dead. I do think that there is a place for it. Pre-construction condos, for example, in the city of Toronto, are a way where you're buying into a property that's going to be ready in a few years' time. I think where some people think that it might be dead or not quite as hot as it used to be is just the fact that the prices these days are way higher than the resale prices. So I know a few of the new products that came out this year were somewhere in the like $1,600 a square foot to I've seen as high as $2,200 a square foot. So if we average that out, call it like most of them were probably around somewhere in that high, thousands of square foot. So like 1,800 a square foot or so. Resale properties right now are going somewhere in the anywhere from like, let's say 900 to 1,100 or 1,200 square foot. So you're actually buying future pricing. I used to love pre-con when you were buying at a price lower than today. And then in a few years time, it would, appreciate with the market. And then there was a time where you were buying at today's pricing with the appreciation of the future. And now you're buying at future pricing for the future. I think one other avenue or one other thing to mention about pre-con is that these days, if you're buying with the intent of assigning it before it closes, which means you sell the paperwork before the property is actually like registered and a mortgage would have to kick in, I'm not sure if in the future we're going to see those kind of gains as we go along. So in 5 years, for example, I'm not sure if pricing will be at $2,000 a square foot to make it worthwhile to sell the paper. So I think that if you're buying with the intent of living there in the future, I think that it could be a good avenue. Maybe you want to just, put down the deposits, and usually they have pretty attractive deposit structures and not lock into a mortgage. Well, that would be something that you can consider and then move in the future. So I don't think it's dead. I just think it's very case dependent and an option for some people who don't want to get into a mortgage right away, but would like to purchase something for down the line. Next question. If you were a buyer right now, how would you navigate? If I was a buyer right now, I think number one would be to get my ducks in a row from a standpoint of, get a mortgage pre-approval, understand your financing, be prepped on location, what you're looking for, and start watching things on the market. Take a look at realtor.ca, see what things are being listed for, see some properties that have been listed on the market, connect with a realtor to start the process of just kind of looking and prepping as you're getting the financial side ready. And then I would be patient. Be patient for the property that you're looking for and take your time. Right now in the market, we're seeing stuff sit on the market longer than we were a year ago. So you have time to go out, take a look. Now, there are some exceptional properties that are still getting some action out there, but I would say for right now, get your ducks in a row, be patient. And if there is something that you like, and it's priced well and you do the research, or the realtor that you're working with does the research to let you know kind of where that price should be and if it makes sense for you, then maybe you can move forward with the property. But definitely, if I was a buyer right now, the way I would navigate moving into the new year would be to have all my financing in order, have an idea of where I want to live, the type of property I'm looking for, and then being patient and finding that property that works for myself. Next question. What are some of the costs when buying and after closing? So, when you're buying a property, there are some closing costs. So, right away, once the property is purchased, you're going to want to have the deposit ready. So, that's typically 5% of the purchase price. That's due within 24 hours. Well, not all the time, but typically, most cases, it's due within 24 hours of the offer getting accepted. There are cases where you provide the check in hand at time of offer. And something that we haven't seen, or something that's not as common, would be the deposit being due at a future date. And that's typically, yeah, 5% of that purchase price. And then once closing time comes, you're going to be meeting with the lawyer. That's when you're going to come up with the rest of the down payment. So the deposit plays a factor into the down payment. So let's say you're putting 20% down, that 5% deposit would apply to the 20%. So then you have 15% remaining. There also could be some adjustments from the lawyer. So, for example, if you're buying at the end of January and the current owner has paid the property taxes for the whole year, well, they would be entitled to, the difference of when you'd move into the property taxes that's already been paid. And then other things like lawyer fees, lawyer costs, moving costs, things like that. Then after closing, once you start owning the property, you're going to have property taxes. If you have a condo, you have condo fees, of course, your utility fees and all that stuff to keep the property, and the mortgage as well. So those are the common costs before the deal is closed and after the deal is closed. So that's it. Hope everyone enjoyed those questions. If you do have questions, send them my way so I can answer them next week, and see you in the next one.